If you're a parent of a teen, one of the topics that comes up the most is where can you find homework help for your teen? Especially once they get into high school, those subjects get harder. You're probably a little bit out of practice with many of them. And homework just becomes a big stressful thing when you don't have the tools that you need to help them. So we're going to share some of our favorite ways to help your high schooler with their homework that makes it easier on you and easier on your teenager. So first of all, we are aware that homework can be stressful. When your teenager is struggling in school, it is hard on the whole family. I think it affects the dynamic of everybody in the home. So finding ways to reduce the stress and help them succeed at school can be really key to everybody's mental health. So we want to share some of the best resources that we found. Right now I have 3 teenagers. Some have struggled to varying degrees at school. And so these are some of the tools that have really helped us. So first of all, before you even get into the resources, I want to talk about how you can help your teen with their homework. There's a few really simple tips, but they make a huge difference. So first, you need to have a designated study area. And I think this is something that a lot of parents do not do. And it seems overly simplistic, but having that space to work with all of their supplies in one place without the distractions, it makes a huge difference. It takes out that one step, especially if you have kids that deal with any sort of executive dysfunction. Having everything ready to go so they can just sit down and get to work can be a huge help with their success. So once you do that, you need to make a plan with your teen. If they struggle with organization, maybe get them a planner, help them find some tools. There's lots of great apps for keeping track of that, but sit down with them if they need the help and help them have a plan in place to succeed with their homework. You need to set realistic goals. If you have a teen that's struggling, sitting down for 5-6 hours after school and just knocking their homework out until it's done is probably not realistic. Look at what their ability is, what kind of focus they have, and work with that. Sometimes you might need to adapt a little bit for different subjects or different abilities with your students. You also need to prioritize. Teens get a lot of homework, and some of those are a little bit more important than others. So if they get to the point where they can't complete everything that they need to do, then help them figure out which assignments mean the most to their grade, which ones are the most important, and then work with them on extending deadlines, because teachers are usually really willing to work with students that make an effort, especially if they reach out, talk to them. So for those assignments that are not quite as urgent, help your student reach out and ask for an extension or ask for extra credit if they need to make up for missing that assignment. This is a hard one too for parents, because it can be tempting to do their homework for them. Sometimes you get to the point, and I know I've been there too, where you're just burned out and you have stuff on your plate too, and it's just easier to do their homework for them. Try and avoid doing that. It causes problems down the road because your students, one, they don't learn the material, they don't learn to manage their time, and they don't learn how important it is to live up to their live up to the requirements of school, and stay on top of things like that. So if you step in and save them and rescue them, they're going to expect that from you in the future, and it's going to do long-term damage. But if they jump in and do the hard thing now and learn how to do it, it's going to really help their future success. And this is another important one. You've got to take breaks. I use this when I'm working at home, and it's important for teenagers to do it with their homework. There have actually been studies that teens learn or remember more when you're studying the beginning of your study session and the end. So that stuff in the middle sometimes gets a little fuzzy. So if you take breaks, do 15-minute study sessions if your teenager's cramming for something, and then they're going to maintain or retain more of that information and be able to use it. So those are important tips that I think before you even jump into using resources to help them with their homework, that we need to have a good foundation to start with. Okay, so where can you find high school homework help? There are a lot of great options there. We are not going to cover all of them. You may have options open to you that we've not covered, and that's great. Use whatever you have. The first one I like to start with is using resources through the school, because it's available to you. It's already, they're likely free anyway, and that's your first line of defense to help your student. Many teachers will offer to help students during their prep period or after school if they have a student that's struggling. Ask if your teen's schools offer tutoring. Some of them have tutoring sessions or study hall periods, and other resources, or subscription to online resources that they share with parents and students. So check into that first. The best option is to have your teenager reach out to their teachers or reach out to their school. If they're not willing to do that, then maybe you can take the first step, but it's worth seeing what resources your school has available. If that is not enough, you can hire a private tutor. Now, private tutoring can be expensive. So if that's not in your budget, then this might not be an option. But I've known people that have traded tutoring with friends' parents. Maybe you're really strong in one subject and you have their friend's parent is strong in another subject, and maybe you guys can swap and help with each of those subjects. But private tutoring can be very effective when teens are struggling. It doesn't have to be professional. You might have a family member or a neighbor or somebody that's willing to help out with some of these subjects, but it's worth looking into finding somebody to tutor or mentor your student if they are struggling with a specific subject. If private tutoring is not in your budget, online group tutoring can be a great option. This is more affordable. It can be just as effective if you find a really good group tutoring service. Look at services like OutSchool or Wyzant and look to see what they have to offer. But if your student's really struggling in a specific subject, this could be a really good way to go. Okay, as far as finding help for specific questions your student has, or if they have topics that come up that they are not as familiar with, internet-based homework help can be a huge resource. We go to Google and YouTube all the time when we're doing homework. When my teen is doing homework and we're helping them, if they don't know something, I'm not in the class with them, obviously, so I don't always have the answers, but we jump on and we learn how to research, and that's a great skill on its own. So YouTube's a great option. Khan Academy has some really great videos that walk you through step-by-step, and they used to just do math, and now they have multiple subjects in there. So that's a great resource. One of my favorite is study.com. They are similar to Khan Academy in that they have instructional videos. They're super engaging. They also have quizzes afterwards to make sure students understand the material. So I want to talk a little bit more about that because that has been helping my family so much this year, especially with two teens who are taking college classes and high school classes. And I am not always able to jump in and help them with some of their college assignments without doing some research first. So my favorite thing is study.com makes high school subjects easier to understand. You can go in and do a full course. They have courses, they have modules, or you can just look at an individual video. And we've done that before if we have a question about an assignment or one question on there and we need clarification. We'll go through and just search for that topic. And we usually find a handful of videos that walk us through exactly what we need to know. I'm just going to show you their platform a little bit because they have a lot of options out there for high school courses. They offer nearly every subject you can think of. They offer full courses that you can use if your student is homeschooling or wants to increase their knowledge about things outside of school, or they offer tutoring courses so you can go in and kind of become stronger on these subjects. And you can also just pull individual videos. So here's an example of one of their individual videos. If your student was studying with anything with their English class, you can go in, Google the topic, and they've got a very, their videos are fantastic. They're some of the best that I've seen out there, and my kids actually like watching them. I asked my kids what they thought of it, and they said it's actually not too bad, which is like high praise from them. So you can watch the videos. They also have quizzes afterwards to make sure students understand them, and they usually have written content that goes along with it. So this is a great resource, and they have just hundreds and hundreds of videos out there, so you can find something for whatever you need. I have my teens, so I've got an 11th grader and a 10th grader, and we are getting ready to tackle the ACTs. So they also have ACT and SAT prep courses. So this is a great option if you want to save some money. You don't have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on a prep course. They have it right in here. And this is actually, I love that you can do it at your own pace. Like it's actually worked out better for my kids because they're not super interested in going and spending several hours a week at a prep course, but they'll jump on and do 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there. And it has been fantastic for getting them ready for these tests. So if you wanted to try this out for yourself, you can use the code BusyMommy to save 30% on your first 3 months and give it a try. You've got the last few months of the school year. It's worth jumping in and seeing if this helps your high schooler with their homework and makes things easier for you. If you have any tips or questions about how to help your teenager with homework, be sure and share them in the comments with us. And I will drop some links to some of these resources in the comments below. Good luck.